Hi everyone, my name is Jamie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, I make videos about knitting and yarn and crochet a little bit in this video. If you're a fiber arts girly, feel free to check out my channel and the other videos I've posted. Check out my Instagram at Jamie_creates. I'm also on TikTok at Jamie_creates. If you're interested in fiber arts, I'm sure you'll have a fun time here on my channel. And I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed and also liked and comment on this video. I always forget to say that, but yeah, give this video a like. It really helps me out if you like it. Today's video is going to be super chilled. I'm just going to be doing another knitting podcast. I haven't done a knitting podcast like this in quite a while. I think the last two knitting podcasts I've done were solely focused on my book and showing all the samples that I made for my book. This is one of them. But in this video, I am going to be showing you what I'm working on, which is really exciting because it's been a while since I've been working on anything other than the book, and I did have to take quite a bit of a break from YouTube because I had nothing really to post about and also just not a lot of time while I was writing the book, but things have slowed down a little bit and I have been knitting and crocheting a few projects. I only have one finished object to show you, which I actually finished ages ago and I just realized I'd never shown them. But everything else is still a whip because I have just not been able to finish anything. I don't know, I keep starting new things, or I also just think everything I'm working on is like, they're all on small needles / small crochet hooks, so they do take longer. And I have also been like quite busy doing other things. I just got back last weekend. Well, I was away last weekend on my book photo shoot, so preparing for that took a lot of time. I've also had quite a lot of work to do since then. So I have definitely been knitting and crocheting, but just not as much time as I would usually have, so I haven't actually finished anything, but that's okay. So in this video, I'm going to show you my 1FO. I'm going to show you my 3 current works in progress, and then I figured maybe we could end the video, depending on how long this is. Maybe I will chat to you a little bit about what I've been consuming, because I've been watching a lot of shows recently. When I am knitting, I've been binge watching, and I wanted to just like have an outlet to talk about those shows, because I'm sure a lot of you have watched or are watching those shows as well. So I might just spend a little bit of time at the end talking about those things. So that's what you can expect in this video. As I said, I have my book photo shoot. I did say that I was gonna post a video last week, but I did end up getting a little bit sick after the shoot. I'm not really sure why. It's probably just a combination of like fatigue, and also it's like winter still in Melbourne, and we were out in the country Melbourne, like rural Victoria, country Victoria, and it was really cold there, and there was like a day where we just did like all the outdoor shots in a row because it was like quite a nice sunny day, but it was still really cold, and I was wearing my knits, but I was also like wearing just like skirts with most of them or dresses and stuff, so I was still freezing. And because we did all those shots in a row, I was outside for like a really long time, and I think that also might have contributed to getting me a little bit sick. So I've just been kind of taking it easy, and last week my voice wasn't the best. It's still a little bit not the nicest, so apologies for that. But and I also just like had a lot of admin work to do, going through all the photos and making revisions for my book, and I just was like, okay, I'm not gonna get a video in. So I didn't do one last week, but yeah, I'm doing it this week, so hopefully it was worth the wait. I also thought I would just mention the photo shoot went amazingly. I honestly don't think it could have gone better. The photos are like everything I imagine they would be and more. I just am so lucky to have worked with such an incredible photographer, to have been able to shoot in such a perfect location for my book. It's just a dream, and I'm so excited to finally share them with you eventually. It will still be a while before I can share anything, but it'll just know it'll be worth the wait. But it's just making me so excited to like finally bring this book to life and to see all my designs being professionally photographed and styled, all by me. I did all the styling myself. I did my makeup and hair myself. So I'm really happy with how they came out, all those things considered, because I'm not the best at any of those things. Styling is like not my strong suit, and neither is hair or makeup, so I really just tried my best. I just wanted to mention that in case you were interested in how it went. It went really well. Anyway, moving on. We'll start with my first and only finished object, and that is, and let me just show one of them because I have two, but it's just easier to hold up one. My Ruffle Socks. My first ever proper pair of socks. Oh, let me show both. Here they are. I've worn them a lot, so if they look a little bit worn, that's because I've been wearing them a lot. And I've learned that you do need to wash knitted socks, but not after every wear. Like, I swear to God, for the first like several wears, I don't know exactly how many, I would like smell them and they still smelt like my wool wash from when I blocked them. So I have washed them since I finished them, but like, yeah, I was really confused because I normally wash the socks I wear, normal socks, like after every single wear, obviously. But my friend Chloe, whose yarn and wool wash I used for this, she said, no, you don't have to. I guess the wool, like, yeah, it doesn't absorb the odor as much. I don't know if anyone knows the like science behind this, please let me know, but it is very helpful because it means that I can wear them a lot without having to wash them after each time. I've been wearing them to death and I'm already planning my next pair of socks. Who would have thought I would have become a sock knitter? Definitely not me. If you'd asked me a couple of months ago or before I started these, but I already have my next socks like in my head. I've got 2 skeins of sock yarn. One of them I actually have here. One of them, my friend Chloe, who I mentioned before, is bringing me from the US, and she is getting back in, wait, what's the day today? She gets back tomorrow. I'm like, it's Wednesday. She gets back tomorrow. I'm picking her up from the airport, and she's picked up a skein of yarn that I ordered online and didn't want to pay for shipping. So anyway, you'll see that eventually, but I definitely want to make a pair of socks with that yarn. But I also have another skein of sock yarn that I bought at a market a few months ago. So I can foresee a few more pairs of socks on the horizon because like I said, I've been wearing these so much and my feet get really cold. So I don't know how I didn't think to make knitted socks earlier, but I just never saw myself wearing them. But I've been wearing them so much, like not even just around the house. Like I've also been like wearing them with like my sneakers and like styling, and I think it'll be so cute for spring to like style them with my Crocs and like my new sandals. Like yeah, I just think it will be, I'm rocking the socks with sandals because my socks are cute. That's the new vibe for me now. But yeah, these are the Ruffle Socks. I didn't even mention the pattern is from Petite Knit. It's a really basic pattern, and I think for my next pairs I'm gonna just kind of modify this pattern to be without the ruffles, because the first 2 rows of the ruffles, which is like the main part of the ruffles, that's how you like create it, took me 2 hours. Like when I don't remember this happening for the first sock. I'm sure it did, but I took a long time like to make the first sock, and then the second sock I like knitted up really quickly, which I feel like is not a normal thing. I feel like it's usually the other way around. But anyway, the second sock I remember obviously better because it was more recently, and I remember knitting this up and I was like, 2 hours later I finished the second round and I was like, how did this take me so long? So I'm not keen to do the ruffle part again, but the pattern is so basic, so I feel like if I just got rid of the ruffle part and like started from there, or maybe did a ribbing or something, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I think I can definitely just modify this pattern because I think it's pretty similar to her everyday sock pattern, but I already have this one, so I'm probably just modify this one to make something like that. So yeah, I'm really happy with how these turned out. I think I'll make a smaller size next time just because they did grow a little bit when I blocked them. I have sewn an elastic into the edge. It's kind of sticking out, but yeah, I've sewn elastic in, which was an absolute lifesaver because they were not going to fit me if it wasn't for that. So I'll probably still do that because they also do kind of like stretch with wear. So yeah, I think I'll make a smaller size next time. But regardless, how pretty are these? I haven't even mentioned what yarn this is. So this is the Wool & Works sock yarn, which is one of my favorite yarns, yarn bases from her, and you'll see it again in this video in another project that's not a pair of socks. But this I used for its intended purpose, and the colorway is Pink Petal Pie. I just love, let me just like appreciate, I think it was, yeah, it didn't really happen as much on this other skein, but for some reason on, other sock, some reason on this sock, I think this must have been the second one I did, it was like, I had this incredible self-striping moment just like in this one section, and I just thought that was so cool. And every single round I remember it just being like, it's happening again, stripe, stripe, stripe. Eventually it did stop once I started the German short rows, but like, I don't know, I just thought that was so cool. This colorway is just amazing. It's just stunning. I love it. so much. I can't even, yeah, I don't even think I need to explain why, like, you have eyes. That's my first pair of socks. I think I'm a sock knitter now. 2023 is full of surprises. I think I'm going to cast on my next pair of socks once I finish one of these 3 whips that I'm going to show you. I literally cannot cast on anything else until I finish one of these, because I've had some of these on the needles for like what feels like way too long. I will cast it on, but I'm like holding myself back because I know that once I cast something else on, like, it's game over for all 3 of these. So yes, we will see when that will end up being, but hopefully I'll finish one of these soon so that I can cast on my new socks. All right, I think I'm just going to show you these in order of when I started them. This you would have seen if you watched my how much can I knit in an hour video, because this is what I was working on in that video. I don't think I've made a ton of progress since then. However, we are making some progress. So let me just hold up where I'm up to. So this is where I'm currently at on my Camisole number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, which is her new summer, one of her new summer patterns. I'm really taking my time on this one because I'm in no rush to finish it because it's not summer here. So yeah, I was on a bit of like a kick with this when it was kind of like my only whip, but once I started some other projects, it's kind of taken a back seat. I also do think I'm going to run out of yarn. So yeah, I'm kind of just like don't want to face that, so I'm just putting it off basically. But I probably should try and like at least finish this skein, if that means not finishing the project before I go away, which I'm leaving for Europe in like a month, because I would, if I'm not finished this by then, I would like to take it with me, and if I need another skein of yarn, I need to like make sure I get that before I leave. So yeah, I probably should get a move on with this project. So I've done the body. Well, no, actually I've done some of the body. I ended up putting the rest of the body stitches on hold because I wanted to knit the neck and armhole trims, because I just wanted to get a better idea of how it was going to fit, because without those sections it was like quite far in, and obviously I know it needs a block and it's got negative ease, so it will stretch as well. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to get a better idea of how it's going to look before I continued on. I also don't plan on knitting the body to its full length in the pattern because it's quite long, and I just don't really ever wear any pants that aren't high-waisted. So it doesn't really make sense for me to have, especially like a tight top, it doesn't really make sense for me to have it long. I'd rather it just end like where it sits just above my, where like my pants sit on my waistline. So I wanted to be able to try it on and like get a better idea of how it looks before I keep knitting the body. So that being said, the neckline and neck trims, they're worked quite interestingly. They're worked like you pick up stitches on the wrong side. Please ignore the fact that I spilled hot chocolate on the wrong side when I was at a cafe. It is on the wrong side and you can't see it on the right side. So we're just going to ignore that. But anyway, I did the whole, where is it? I did the neck trim already. Oh, where? Hello. I did the neck trim already. So it's knit on, the sleeve and neck trim is done on 2mm needles. So it's like kind of killing me. But yeah, it's like you do this one long piece and then, not really long, but anyway, one piece, and then I need to like still do this part, but you like fold it over and you like sew it down. But I haven't really like taken the time to properly read the pattern and figure out how I'm going to sew it down and how that works, and I want to do it right. So yeah, I just decided I was going to knit all 3 sections before I sew it, just so that then I can just do all the sewing in one go. Well, maybe not one sitting, it depends how long it takes, but like I don't want to be like switching between sewing and knitting, if that makes sense, just in case I like forget how it's done or whatever. I still have to do the other sleeve trim, which looks so giant when I haven't picked up the stitches, but once you pick it up, like it looks more normal, which is another reason why I wanted to do this part first, because I felt like I'll get a better idea of how this is actually going to fit. So yeah, I definitely still think I need more length on the body, but probably not a ton, because there's also then like the hem, which I need to do, like the edging. So I'm actually closer than I realize to finishing this, so I should probably get a move on. But regardless, this has been on my needles since early July, so it's like over a month now. I took this with me on a family weekend away. I decided, because I was going away with my family and I was going to have a bit more time to knit, that that I would cast this on, and I actually got a pretty good amount of it done that weekend, and then have just kind of worked on it sporadically since then. So yeah, it's not like a great representation of like how long this takes because I haven't been working on this very actively recently, but regardless, I think, yeah, like I've done a lot, but I also like it's on such small needles that I like don't want to hurt my hands. So I think that's also why this is kind of taking a back seat, but it's a really good one to work on like on the go. Like I think I took this one with me also to like when I got my hair done. And like I said, I was at a cafe recently with a friend and I took this one with me. So yeah, it's a good like on the go project because it's not very big and easy. It's just like pack in a bag, but it's very tedious. But I think this is going to be like my staple singlet, and like I probably will make another one in the summer in another color, but I don't know. It depends. It depends just because it is like a lot of work for like such a small garment. It's like I could just use thicker yarn and get that done quicker, but you know, we'll just have to see where I'm at and what I feel like making then. But yeah, I haven't even mentioned once again what yarn this is. This is once again the Woolworks sock yarn, and this is in the colorway Ice, which you'll notice, and I haven't even mentioned, is very similar to the colorway I'm currently wearing, except this is, we called it Glacier. I dyed this one with Chloe. It's just like slightly brighter and slightly more saturated than the Ice colorway, which I don't know how much that shows up on camera. In real life, you can definitely tell the difference, but yeah, they're very similar. So I'm sorry, I didn't even notice that. I was probably just like so much blue happening right now, but I love this colorway so much, so not really mad about it. But yeah, absolutely love this yarn, but may need more because this is not looking very promising. Okay, the next one is very exciting because this is my first crochet project that I've done in probably 2 years. I don't really remember the last crochet project I did, but it was at least 2 years ago. I definitely didn't do any crochet last year or this year until now. So yeah, it's been at least 2 years. For those of you who don't know, I was actually a crocheter before I was a knitter, which is I feel like a semi little known fact. Like I don't really bring it up very often. I kind of fell off crochet for a bit, but this project, like this pattern really inspired me to pick it up again because I saw it on my feed and I went, oh, I would actually wear that. And that is like the first time that's happened in so long because I was just feeling like I was never wearing any of the things that I made when I was crocheting, which is why I picked up knitting and it worked out for me. But this one I actually feel like I will wear, but the problem is I just am so overwhelmed by the amount of ends I currently have that like I just haven't worked on it in a while. But there was a good like week where this was all I worked on. So anyway, this is where I'm currently at with my Ada top by Kukuruku Crochet. So I'll show you the front and the back. The inside is currently, okay, so basically I have been weaving in the ends, I just haven't done it in a while. I've done pretty much all of one side and I've like started on the other side, but it's just like all the edges that I still really need to do. So I think that's where I'm like getting a bit overwhelmed, but it doesn't take as long as I think it's going to, but it's just, yeah, I haven't been so inspired by weaving in ends lately. So I haven't been working on this one as much. But that being said, I'm obsessed with how it's looking. All I have to do is the sleeve trim, the neck trim, and the bottom ribbing. Well, I think the neck trim is like a collar, and then the bottom ribbing. And all of that is going to be in this color, which is the Ching Fiber DK yarn. They have 2 DK bases, but it's one of the DK bases. I really actually can't remember which one. And the shade Peachy, I think. So I think everything else I have to do is all in this color, which is great because I genuinely thought I was losing yarn chicken, and then I realized I had a whole other skein in that color. It's because I only had one skein in the pink and the yellow, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna run out. And then I realized I have a whole other skein of the that peachy colorway. So all is good. I'll have plenty of yarn left. The other 2 yarns I used were also from Woolworks. I think everything I'm showing in this video is just Woolworks and Ching Fiber today, which is kind of a slay. We love supporting hand indie dyers. Those are probably my 2 favorites. So yeah. Anyway, both of the other 2 colors, so the dark pink and the yellow, are both from Woolworks. The dark pink is Rosella and the yellow is Starlight, and I've had those for ages. I was initially using them for another project. I ended up frogging that project and haven't really known what to use because I had like a bunch of colorways, but I ended up using 2 of them for this, so I'll use the other 2 that I have for something else. Not sure what, but yeah, I'm really happy to have like used up stash yarn for this. Also the Ching fiber that I was talking about was also initially in another project that I frogged. So yeah, I really like that I was able to make use of yarn that I initially had used for other projects that I never finished, and able to kind of repurpose that yarn for this project. So it's giving me hope that hopefully I'll be able to get through my stash eventually. So that's good. But yeah, so this is a really gorgeous pattern. It's basically made like all these little lantern like shaped pieces were all done separately, and then I used the light pink to crochet and seam them all together, which took ages, but I did enjoy doing because it was quite satisfying to see it all come together. The problem is I didn't weave in the end as I go, which was recommended in the pattern, and for some reason I just didn't do it because I didn't feel like doing it then, but I also don't feel like doing it now, so it's my own fault. I take full responsibility for it. It's not the pattern's fault. It's fully my fault, and I was warned and I ignored that warning. So I have to deal with the consequences of my own actions, and that's okay. I will finish this eventually. I'm determined to get back into it. It's just like, I feel like I have to be in the crochet mindset, and I've kind of exited it for a little bit because of these ends. But maybe once I've weaved them all in, then I'll be like, yes, like time to crochet again. But yeah, I've been on a bit more of a knitting kick at the moment. So this one has kind of gone on hold. At the moment, I don't have any plans to do any other crochet projects, but I'm not closed off to it because I have picked up the hook again and, you know, gotten a little bit more back into it. But yeah, I think I'm really like project motivated when it comes to crochet. Like, I'm not just like, I just want to crochet anything. Like, it has to be a project that I specifically think that I'm going to get use out of. So I haven't currently like recently seen anything that I think I'm going to want to make, but that could change. So we'll see. But yeah, even if it doesn't, this has been fun, and I enjoyed kind of doing something different and getting into, yeah, like a different hand movement and kind of going back to my roots as well, because I was a crocheter before I was a knitter. I crocheted exclusively for like over a year before I ever picked up knitting. So yeah, it was nice to kind of go back to doing that again for a little bit. This pattern is great, by the way. I would highly recommend it. It's so customizable. There's all different lengths that you can do, and the instructions are very clear. There's photos throughout, which was very helpful for me as like someone who's kind of getting back into crochet and like having to refamiliarize myself with things. But I was also really impressed with myself for like being able to follow the pattern so easily, because it had been a while since I followed a crochet pattern, like probably more than 2 years. So yeah, I was proud of myself for that. I think that's enough on that. Okay, on to the final whip, which I feel like I did show as well a little bit in my last video, which was, what was it? The Would You Rathers that I did, knitting Would You Rathers. But turns out I actually frogged most of it after that and then redid it. So it's been quite the whirlwind, because I'm finally starting a new design, which is really exciting. A new design that's not for my book, so it will actually come out this year, which is also really exciting because I've only released one pattern this year, which is crazy because I've designed so many patterns, but I haven't been able to release any of them. So yeah, it's really exciting to kind of like be back on the designing grind and have like full freedom of like, I can make whatever I want. There's no kind of constrictions of like, my book was like, you know, my book was a lot, like I did a lot of different things, but it was still like all kind of like quick knits. So I wanted to, yeah, obviously I had to kind of keep within that framework. But for this, like, you know, when I'm designing patterns just to release outside of that, I can do whatever I want. So this is very different for me in a lot of aspects, but I'm going to show you what I've done so far. It's currently unnamed as well, so we'll get to that eventually. I'll get to naming it. But basically, it's coming along really well. I'm currently knitting up the sleeve. I did have to frog most of it today because I realized that it didn't look good. So, like I said, this has been a lot of frogging to get to this point. I can't even, like, the only thing in this design that I have not frogged is the back section up until the bottom of the armholes. Like, just that. Everything else has been frogged at least once. So yeah, it's taken me a while to kind of really get this design right, but I didn't want to like just keep going with what I was doing and then make another sample, because then this would just go to waste, and this yarn is too pretty to go to waste, and I can just frog it and fix it, you know? So it's kind of like a wrap top, but there's no like, the bottom is all like connected, so there's no like wrapping around, there's no like ties, which I really like. I just feel like it makes it really easy to wear. Like you don't have to kind of, you know, worry about like, I don't know, I don't like things like where I have to kind of, there's like, you can wear it in more than one way, because like I never know if I'm wearing it the right way. So I just wanted to make this kind of like, it looks like a wrap top, but it's kind of done for you and you just get to put it on and live your best life. So and it's also very easily worn on its own. It's hard to show right now when I'm not wearing it, but it's got quite a lot of coverage, so you could easily wear this without anything underneath, and it would cover everything that needs to be covered, which is good. And yeah, I'm just so excited. It's got like really cute ribbing at the bottom, so it sits quite nice and comfortably around the waist, but then has like a little bit more of an oversized feel around the body and the sleeve as well, which is going to be like somewhere between a balloon sleeve and a not balloon sleeve. Like it's not going to be cray balloon, but it's not going to be like super tight. I'm still figuring that out because I did have to frog it because I didn't like how it was looking. But yeah, I also have done an I-cord edging all the way around the edge of the body, I guess. So that also took a while to get right, but I'm really happy with the I-cord. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do a double knitted edge or an I-cord or just leave it, because I actually didn't mind how it looked when I had like at least the front bits without an edging, but the back neckline needed something. So I just figured I did the I-cord, so it was super simple and like kind of kept the same feel, but like, nice and neat. But yeah, that's currently where this design is at, so I'm really excited. The yarn that I'm using is also Ching Fiber. I actually have one skein that I'm yet to cake up. I don't even know if I'm going to use this one. I probably will end up using it, but I definitely am not going to use it all. So this is going to be it's going to be like somewhere between 3 to 4 skeins, which is pretty good because that's all I have. So yeah, this is from their new summer collection that they came out with a little while ago, and this shade is called Lapine. It's on the Melted Baby Suri base, which is my favorite base from them, and it's just gorgeous. Like these speckles are just like, I didn't even know exactly how it was gonna knit up, because as you can see, like on the skein, like the speckles are quite like large, but when it's knit up, it really like they show up really nicely as like speckles and not as like large blotches. So I'm so obsessed with it. It's just like one of the most beautiful colorways I've ever seen. I just love the like subtle light pink, like it's not too bright, but then like the speckles and neon. I just think it's just like I literally cannot deal with how beautiful this colorway is. It's just so me, and I like saw it and I had to break my yarn ban to get some. And I don't regret it because it's for a new design, and that's really exciting, and it's not going to waste because I casted it on like straight away. So really proud of myself for that. But yeah, that's where it's currently at. I hope people like it. So far people seem to be interested in it, but yeah, it's really different for me. Not just because it's a wrap top, which I've never done, but I also am knitting this from the top, have knitted this from the top down. I've obviously finished the body now, so you can't even really tell, but yeah, I worked this all the way from the top to the bottom, and that's really fun for me because it's quite new. I've only ever done that for like a raglan, but I've never done that for something that isn't a raglan. So I was a bit nervous with how that was gonna go because I'm not used to like designing like that. I'm used to just like following other patterns that are like that, and when I design, I usually am like stick to kind of what I know. But yeah, I challenged myself, and so far, after several attempts and several frogs, we have got to a point where I think it's looking good and looking like what I planned it to look like. So that's really exciting. I'm hoping to finish this sample soon, once I can just get these sleeves right, and then get straight into writing the pattern, and hopefully the pattern will be in testing before I leave for Europe, which is in a month. So within the next month, I'm hoping to get this pattern into testing. So we'll see how I go with writing and grading the pattern, but all very exciting. I'm glad I took a little break from writing patterns after the book because I was a little bit burnt out, but this design has kind of reignited my creative, energy and mind. So yay for that. I think that's all I want to say about this one because I'm really excited to just show you once it's done so you can properly see what it looks like on and what the vision is. Okay, I think we have a little bit of time, so I think maybe I'm actually gonna knit on this while I chat because I'm feeling so like a little bit annoyed after I had to frog so much of this sleeve. So I kind of want to get a move on with it. I just wanted to talk a little bit in this last little few minutes of the video. I want to talk about what I've been watching because I've been, despite having been actually really busy with other things, pretty much any other time in between that, I've been watching these shows. So the first show that I started like a few weeks ago, like just before I went to the photo shoot, was The Summer I Turned Pretty. I hadn't actually watched the first season of the show. I know the second season just came out. Yeah, I hadn't watched the first season and I actually have no idea why. I think I just it wasn't on my radar for some reason last year, which once again, I don't know how. I feel like this year it's gotten more hype. So I binge watched the whole show. I'm currently up to date now. So I think there's still one episode left of season 2. But yeah, look, if you've watched the show, you'll understand. It's a good show. It's very like, you know, teen drama. Like it's not like revolutionary, but I think that especially the second season, it had like a much darker feel, a much like more like ominous, sad undertones, which is like completely fair enough because of the plot. There were like a lot of sad things that happened and that the people in the show are dealing with. But it was just like, yeah, the tone of it in the first season was very like summer and romance and like, it was just like very, I can't even think of the right word. But yeah, the season 2 definitely had like a more kind of darker, sadder, more serious feel to it. But I like that there was like a stark difference between the two in terms like, okay, I'm not gonna like spoil anything just because like I don't want this to be annoying if anyone is planning on watching it or if some people are behind. But like just in general, because I also haven't read the books and I have no idea where this is going. So please don't spoil anything in the comments if you have read the books and you do know the plot and what happens at the end of season 2 and what's gonna happen in the next season. Please don't spoil that for me. But yeah, okay, I know this is like actually controversial, which I didn't realize because I just like watched the show free of any commentary. Like I didn't watch any commentary, I didn't read, I didn't see TikToks, I didn't like look up on Twitter to see anything about the show. Like I just watched it kind of like independently. And like I'm like team Jelly. Okay, if you have not watched the show, that's gonna make no sense. I'm team Belly, who's the main character, and Jeremiah. This is basically like a love triangle. I'm team Jelly, and I think that's actually controversial from what I understand, having now like caught up to date and like seen a little bit of online discourse about it. I feel like that's really unpopular. Most people are team Conrad and Belly, but yeah, I don't know. I think Conrad has screwed her over one too many times for me, and I think that Jeremiah was there all along, but also I kind of like both. So I'm not that invested in either, and I'm not like, oh my god, I hate one or hate the other or whatever. But yeah, I know that's kind of controversial, and like I haven't thought too deeply about this or like engaged in serious discourse about it because I just don't think it's that deep. But from my like, you know, feelings from watching it, I feel like I'm more pro Jeremiah than I am Conrad. But I know that's controversial and maybe I'll change my mind at the end of season 2 or in the next season. Like, I don't know what happens, so we'll see. But yeah, anyway, that's my hot take potentially. I don't know what that says about me, but anyway, it's really not that deep for me. So like, don't get angry at me if that's like really controversial or something. Like I really haven't thought about it that deeply, but that's just like, it's just like my takeaway. Okay. But anyway, I love the soundtrack. I know it's like a little bit intense and it's like all the like top 40 like TikTok songs, but there's a lot of like Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, Billie Eilish, like just artists that I love, and it's just really like fun to like hear the songs playing throughout the show. And it's like a really pretty show to watch. So that's that. I watched that. I think I knitted this entirely while watching that. Like that, don't think I was touching any other projects while I watched that show. But then on the weekend, like this, was it this last weekend? Yeah, I think it was. I was like still watching Summer I Turned Pretty, but then High School Musical, the musical season 4 came out. No, High School Musical, the musical, the series season 4 came out, and that show is like my absolute guilty pleasure. Like it's unwatchable 50% of the time, but yet I still watch it. And it was the last season, so I obviously had to watch it. I did binge it because I was like, I just want to get this done so then I can go back to Summer I Turned Pretty, because the idea of like switching between the two was like too chaotic. So I was like, okay, I just need to put the Summer I Turned Pretty on hold for like a hot minute, and like by a hot minute I mean like 2 days, and then binge watched High School Musical and then went back to finish Summer I Turned Pretty. But yeah, I watched season 4. Not gonna lie, I did cry in the last episode. I don't know what was going on. I don't know why I was crying over this kid's show. I mean, is it a kid's show? I don't know. It's confusing. It's definitely not a children's show, but it's not like an adult show. I don't know why I was crying over this teenager show. I don't know, but I was. And I honestly don't have any shame. Like, that show's been on for so long. I think I jumped on the bandwagon when season 2 was airing. So I like, once again, like similar to how I've done with the Summer I Turned Pretty and also the next show I'm going to talk about. But yeah, I watched season 1 and 2 like binge, or like I think I caught up to then watch season 2 as it was airing, and then watch season 3 last year, and then season 4 this year. So it's like, it's been a few years, and you know, you grow attached to the characters regardless of how average the script is at times and not great the acting is at times. But there were times where it was good, especially in that last episode when like Gina was giving that whole monologue, and I literally just cried so much, and I was like, what is going on? Anyway, thoughts on the season. It was a bit weird. Certain things weren't really able to be explained, but ultimately I was satisfied with the ending, and that show isn't that deep, so I really don't have a lot to say, but I have been watching that. So if you also watch that show as a guilty pleasure or as just an unguilty pleasure, that's also fine. I'm not here to judge at all. Yeah, comment below, because I'm glad I saw it through till the end. But I don't think it needed another season, so I think we're good. And then finally, I started this show literally yesterday, and I'm already on to season 2, because it's not a very long show. The episodes are so short. And I also don't know how I didn't know about this show last year when it first came out, but now that season 2 has come out and now I'm hearing about it. It seems to be like a common, it's actually the same thing with all 3 shows that I'm talking about in this video, where like the second season came out and then I became aware of it, whereas when the first season came out I wasn't aware of it. So I don't know why this happens to me, but anyway, so I started Heartstopper yesterday, which is on Netflix, and watched the whole first season because it was only like 4 hours. So I just like did like 2 hours in the afternoon and like went out and then came home and then like did another 2 hours. So I loved the first season. I thought it was amazing. I loved that the conflict was very much within the 2 people in the relationships kind of dealing with other things. Like, though it wasn't so much within the relationship itself, but it was about like, you know, with Nick, it was about his, you know, his battle with, you know, dealing with and discovering his sexuality with, oh my god, Charlie. I can't even remember their names because I only watched this yesterday for the first time. But with Charlie, it was about, you know, him and his friendships and also being bullied and all that stuff. But I felt like the relationship itself was so pure and wholesome. And like, I just hate when sometimes like in shows, the 2 people you want to get together and then like immediately like something bad happens. It's like, you can't just let them be happy for more than like 2 episodes. So I really liked that the whole season was just like a build up, and it was really satisfying, but there was still conflict to kind of keep it engaging. And then I've only watched, I think, maybe 1 or 2 episodes of season 2, so I plan on watching more of that today. But yeah, so far loving Heartstopper. Don't know how I missed it. Somehow last year I missed it, and I'm now watching it. So forgive me for being so late to these things, but yeah, comment if you've watched any of those shows. I think Heartstopper definitely is the most, like, it has the most to say, and it is probably the most like meaningful out of those 3 for obvious reasons. But regardless, yeah, I'm watching my, like, you know, teen love story shows at the moment. That's just like what is giving me joy. But yeah, I think I've talked enough about all of that content. So I think I'm going to end the podcast here. Please comment if you like watch any of these shows, just so that I don't feel like I'm talking to no one. I don't know what else to say other than thanks for watching. I hope this podcast was kind of relaxing and not too chaotic. I didn't have that much to show you, but I will try and finish one of these projects soon so that I can show you another FO. I have some exciting things coming soon that I will talk about probably in my next video, depending on when that actually happens. But yeah, I have an exciting announcement coming very soon, so stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, yeah, just check me out on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe on YouTube and like this video if you haven't already. And obviously you can of course check out my patterns. The link will be in the description. I forgot to mention, but I have my Heard It Through the Grapevine vest hanging behind me. I'm trying to keep up with this, like, hanging a different pattern up behind me in every video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!